Can't you see? I'm moving.
My husband declared as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Moving? Am I supposed to just know about it? I haven't heard a thing about this, let alone made any preparations. I retorted, feeling confused, to which he just laughed mockingly.
Who said I'm taking you with me? I'm the only one moving.
But then what am I supposed to do?
Who cares? Stop leeching off me forever and just go to a nursing home or something.
I'm Joyce, recently turned 62. My husband, Greg, is 2 years younger than me, and we're approaching our 40th wedding anniversary soon. I was introduced to him by my ex-boss, who had been pushed by his client to introduce a female employee. Greg was apparently eager to meet whoever for the sake of his career advancement. It was sort of like an arranged meeting, but strangely enough, he seemed to take a liking to me. Without opposition from our families, we went ahead with the marriage, swept along by the tide of societal expectations. Our married life was not unhappy, blessed by well wishes from colleagues and family. Eventually, we had a son named Mark and a daughter named Kate, and I cherished the happiness of building a family. As a dutiful wife and mother, I dedicated myself to my children. Now they're both independent, each with their own families and happy lives. Though I've faced many challenges as a wife, I'm looking forward to the quiet retirement years ahead. However, life doesn't always go as planned. Someone has been disrupting my peaceful retirement dream, my mother-in-law. At 83, Amy's been weakening for the past 7 years, requiring constant care, which falls mostly on my shoulders. Greg still works, so I can't expect much help from him at home. To fulfill my duties as a wife, I've been taking care of everything on my own all this time. In the past, I used to ask him for help, but he never cooperated. In the olden times, it was common for men to dominate, and my father-in-law was no exception. However, Greg has only inherited his father's strictness without heart. While his father appreciated me and treated me well, I've never felt much affection from him. Our marriage is just a career move for him after all. Nevertheless, I've put effort into supporting him, determined to stay together as a couple for life, perhaps partly because of our 2 children. About 15 years into our marriage, my father-in-law passed away, and everything changed drastically. Greg became even more domineering, and his tone grew harsher. Moreover, Amy started treating me poorly too.
James might have favored you, but I've always disliked you. Just looking at you with your plain looks and seeming lack of joy irritated me.
She criticized my appearance and abilities, and revealed her opposition to our marriage.
It was a marriage for career advancement, so I regret it. But if I had refused, I might not have been promoted like I am now.
Greg chimed in with negative remarks as well.
I'm probably a better parent than you know. If you were a bit smarter, our kids might have gotten into better universities.
Both Greg and Amy hurled criticisms at me. The kids weren't exceptionally brilliant, but they still worked hard and managed to get into their desired schools. I acknowledged their efforts, but for Greg and Amy, it seemed like only the results mattered, and all the responsibility fell on me. Just like that, after my father-in-law passed away, they started hurling verbal abuse at me at every opportunity. Unable to bear it anymore, I confronted him directly. If you have any complaints, say them to me directly. It's really upsetting to hear you and your mom speak ill of me. And think about how the kids would feel hearing that. He refused to recognize my complaints and retorted,
The problem is with you. Even the kids agree with me and Mom.
It felt like I had to manage everything perfectly at home when he said it like that. He and Amy didn't actually have any specific expectations of me. They just said it was all for my own good. They asserted that I was angry because they were speaking the truth. I felt the urge to ask him if he truly believed he was a perfect husband and father, but I held back. I figured he would explode in anger if I provoked him.
See? You can't argue with that. All you need to do is keep trying to do what you're told.
He smugly said when I remained silent. Even though I had dedicated myself to my family for all those years, I still had to endure such treatment. Despite the harsh criticism from Greg and Amy, I persevered for the sake of my kids, staying with the family. My efforts didn't go to waste, and both my son and daughter became successful working adults. Fortunately, they escaped the negative influence of Greg and Amy and grew up to be compassionate individuals. The harassment from Amy had diminished as she grew older and weaker. While the physical caregiving was challenging, the emotional burden had eased compared to before. The anger from years of mistreatment hadn't dissipated, but I couldn't abandon my ailing mother-in-law. So I continued to take care of her as best as I could. In contrast, Greg did nothing for her and relied entirely on me. Even when I confirmed the promise to take her to the hospital, a previously discussed arrangement, he expressed dissatisfaction.
Oh, I can't. You go.
I told you I'm going to visit my aunt in the hospital with my mom. That's why I asked you to take Amy. No matter how much I argued, he didn't listen. In the end, he always made excuses and treated me like a maid, neglecting his mother's care and avoiding hospital procedures. He didn't help her with meals or baths, using work as an excuse to push all the responsibility onto me, and behaved as he pleased. I need to discuss your mother's hospital bills. Whenever I tried to talk to him, he brushed it off with a simple, just pay it from the account. But I didn't give up on us. Ever since our kids became independent, I had felt that giving up would mean the end of our family bond. Looking back, I'm not sure why I was so desperate. My good intentions had the opposite effect, though, and he stopped coming home.
I'm the department director, so I'm busy with work, entertaining clients and working overtime.
While it might have been true, his late returns and lack of days off were clear evidence that he was trying to avoid me.
It's because of you that Greg doesn't come to visit.
Amy also began to vent her frustrations at me, starting to relieve her stress. As a wife and daughter-in-law, I had tried my best, but I had reached my limit. And then, prompted by something, this tension finally snapped. It happened one day when I went to the hospital to pick up Amy's laundry. Despite her usual snide remarks, I gathered them and headed home, only to find a moving truck parked in front of the house. Before I could process what was happening, I watched as our belongings were being rapidly loaded onto the truck, and I rushed inside the house.
Oh, you're back early.
Greg, who was supposed to be at work, was there overseeing the move, and the movers were carrying out their work with ease. What the heck is going on here? I raised my voice in shock. Then he, of all things, burst out laughing at me.
Can't you see? I'm moving.
He declared as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Moving? Am I supposed to just know about it? I haven't heard a thing about this, let alone made any preparations. I retorted, feeling confused, to which he just laughed mockingly again.
Who said I'm taking you with me? I'm the only one moving.
But then, what am I supposed to do?
Who cares? Stop leeching off me forever and just go to a nursing home or something.
He shattered everything I had built and poured my heart into in an instant. He was planning to leave me behind and start a new life. Despite my shock, the moving process continued, and the house quickly became empty. Then Greg, laughing like it was the funniest thing in the world, left me behind. I was momentarily stunned, unable to move. I, who had supported him and cared for his mother, received such treatment. Before I knew it, anger welled up inside me. Just picturing his smug smile filled me with a rage. I couldn't let him get away with that. As I was determined to take revenge, something caught my eye. I made up my mind and began to act right away. In the empty house, there was a file of divorce papers left behind. I took it straight to the attorney's office I hadn't known. Just like that, our divorce proceedings started. A month has passed since then, and I get a call.
Hey, what's the deal with not paying Mom's hospital bills? And there's also a message to come pick up the laundry. What the hell are you doing?
It's a call from Greg. I can't hide my displeasure hearing his voice and yell at him in anger. Why am I obligated to pay her hospital bills? And why should I do the laundry? We're separated and going through a divorce now. I shout into the phone, but he doesn't stay silent.
I told you to pay the bill from the account. Or what? Did you use my money for something else behind my back?
Ignoring the fact that we're divorcing, he just says whatever suits him, making baseless accusations. I can't back down from the argument that ensues. What account are you talking about?
It's obviously the living expenses account. I deposit money into it every month.
Yeah, right. There's been no balance in that account for ages, you know. Last time you deposited was like 3 years ago. Did you think the balance was infinite or something?
What are you talking about? There's no way that's the case.
Seemingly overwhelmed by my tone, he mutters and falls silent. Since the beginning of our marriage, I've been given a living expenses account. It was set up to receive transfers from his salary every month automatically. However, about 3 years ago, those transfers stopped. When I inquired at the bank, they said there was no balance in the salary account, so transfers couldn't be made. Since the living expenses were supposed to be transferred the day after his payday, there was no reason for it to be empty other than him withdrawing money. I've asked you about this so many times, haven't I? But you always brushed it off, acting like you didn't know anything. You always said it was my misunderstanding or that I was trying to extort more money. You've even called me a penny pincher at times.
Anyway, I don't know anything about that. Maybe the bank's embezzling the money.
He deflects, resorting to absurd claims. There's no way that's true. There's a limit to shifting blame. That's impossible. Just be honest and spill the beans where the money went. He falls silent at my order for a moment. Then he regains his composure and becomes defiant.
I said I don't know. Just go get Mom's laundry.
He hangs up on me. He's so irresponsible. Of course, I have no intention of taking care of Amy anymore, nor any obligation to. I ignore his demand and set my phone down. But the next day, another call comes in.
God darn it. Why haven't you come to pick up the laundry?
It's Greg again. I told you we're in the middle of a divorce, so I have no obligation.
You're really heartless. Fine, then I'll ask Kate to come.
Wait, why involve her?
Then you come.
He hangs up on me again. I reluctantly decide to go to the hospital, not to pick up laundry, but to settle things with him once and for all.
Finally here, huh? Go grab the laundry already.
Why are you so useless?
Greg and Amy scold me as soon as I arrive. There's a laundry room downstairs, so why don't you do it yourself? I'm adamant not to let them take advantage of me anymore.
Why should I when there's a capable daughter-in-law? It's a hassle for the nurses who have to take me there.
Amy seems oblivious to our situation. I'm not really your daughter-in-law anymore.
What? What do you mean?
She looks confused. Greg, flustering, interrupts me from answering her.
Here we go again with your delusions. Just take the laundry and get out.
No, that's not happening. Amy, we're separated and getting a divorce. He moved out to a new place on his own.
What? Moved out?
Oh, that's actually...
I guess he wasn't expecting me to stand my ground, and he starts sweating. And then I rub salt on his injury. By the way, I'm not paying for the hospital bills anymore.
My hospital bills? What's she talking about?
Amy's expression grows suspicious and looks to him for answers. He turns pale and keeps silent. All right then, I'm leaving now.
Hey, hold on. I spent all my money and have nothing left now. So pay Mom's hospital bills for me.
Wait, what? What do you mean you don't have money? You're asking her to pay?
You seem to misunderstand something, but I have been paying for it all along.
But you've been a housewife. How could you pay?
I've been investing using my parents' inheritance, so I actually have quite a bit of assets. Over the past few years, I've dabbled in real estate and forex trading. To be honest, I make more than him.
Oh my God!
You know, he had been desperately showering some young woman with gifts, so I had no choice but to earn and support our lifestyle. When I shine the light on the truth, his face loses color completely. Do you think I wouldn't find out? I had hired a private investigator and had the evidence. Well, it seems you got dished by that young woman anyway. He looks like he's about to cry. Apparently, he was planning to move in with his girlfriend at the new place, but she ended up taking everything and running away, leaving him high and dry. And it seems she used a fake name, so he doesn't even know her real name. She might not even be in the country now, so he's completely devastated.
She probably just has some issues and temporarily left me. I know she'll come back.
Oh yeah? Well, hope she does for your sake. Anyhow, I'm determined to make you pay alimony.
Wait a minute. I'm broke.
Who cares, right? You're working as a director, so you have a salary.
I retired early for her and got a severance package already. And she took all of that and ran away.
His soul has seemingly drained from him as he realized he has been scammed. His statement leaves Amy stunned.
Is that true?
Yeah, I also consulted with the police. But there's no guarantee the money will be returned.
Oh my god, then what about my hospital bills?
We have Dad's inheritance.
That's long gone by now.
What?
You idiot! Because of you, my future is pitch dark.
Oh God. Dad's inheritance was my only lifeline. Joyce, please reconcile with me.
Ugh, you're joking, right?
Yeah, if you come back, everything will be fine.
Cut the crap already. I've done enough for you two already. I've had enough and won't have anything to do with you anymore.
Oh, come on.
And don't involve our kids, okay? I've already warned them not to give you a penny, as you might go begging for it.
Jeez.
Both of them are looking like it's the end of the world. I head out of the door without looking back. Amy couldn't afford the hospital stay, so she was discharged forcibly. She's now in a facility that barely fits within her pension, but its poor environment causing her a lot of stress. Greg couldn't afford his life in general without a salary and savings, so he's now working as a security guard. He never managed to find the young girl and didn't get his money back. What a fitting punishment. I've moved into a luxurious facility near where my daughter lives. The admission fee is high, but I can afford it with my investment income, and my daughter can easily visit me. My son is a bit farther away, but with a car he can visit within an hour, so I can still see both of my children. The facility is excellent, the food is delicious, and the staff are all wonderful people. The other residents are mostly kind, and I'm content every day. I don't know how many more years I have left, but I want to live a peaceful life while watching my children and grandchildren grow.